Aries, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for May 16th through the 22nd of 2016. I'm Athen, and this is for Sidereal. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link because the signs are different. All right, so Aries, this week we have a full moon at the end of the week on Saturday, and that's going to be right on the cusp between your 7th house of relationships and your 8th house of deep intimacy and deep connections in life. And that's already where you've had your ruler, in fact. So I think there has been a lot of reflection in terms of what is meaningful to you, how to have deeper connections with yourself, of course, primarily first, but that does lead to the intimacy and the deeper connections with others, and perhaps shared resources on an external level for some of you. But all in all, this is the house of, what's deep, what really matters, and where we can transform in our life so that it is more in alignment with, what truly does matter and what is the real meaning of life to us. So that's where the reflection's been with your ruler at retrograde, and the full moon is really going to illuminate that because it is conjoining up to Mars, up to your ruler. So there's a lot of awareness about self, I think, coming into the picture at the end of the week and as the week unfolds as well. And this is, again, awareness of self relating to that 8th house, but also, in terms of who you are, where you're putting your energy, right? What are your goals? What are your ambitions? These kinds of matters can really be highlighted because that's what the full moon is an illuminating time. Now, there might have to be some things let go this later part of the week to transition, as there sometimes is during the full moon. It's that sort of status check where we can see what's working, what's the culmination, how are things going, but what isn't working and what can be let go, right? What might need to be let go, that kind of a thing. And in that way, you sort of begin and continue that journey. So this has been a lot relating to you because the last new moon was in your sign. So this is, again, relating to a lot of stuff you have been cultivating over the past couple weeks and then shifting into, I think, this new direction. Now, in terms of the illumination of relationships, is there can be perhaps a culminating point of this, because roughly about 6 months ago, you had a new moon in your 7th house of relationships. So if that's been an area highlighted for you for the past 6 months, this can be a high point, a culmination with that. But again, it's an awareness. It's also a reflection and this re-examination in terms of where you can continue to cultivate your relationships in that healthy and balanced way in your life. So that's the strongest astrological events of the week, particularly for you guys because it is involving your ruler Mars. But we do have some aspects approaching that and even going into next week, particularly with Jupiter squaring up to Saturn. So I think as the week starts here, particularly around Tuesday, probably Wednesday, we'll start to feel this square again. So this isn't anything new. This has been an ongoing theme. And the key with this is that it's all about the slow and steady growth, slow and steady progress, because Saturn in your 8th house has been helping you build things in your life that matter. Mars is where you're putting your energy and it's who you are. But Saturn is what we build, what we concretize, right? So it's what are you building in your life that truly matters? And that's the reflection with Saturn. And the square up to Jupiter is suggesting that with all these shifts, which I think have been occurring this year relating to you understanding more about your self-expression, which has been Jupiter and the North Node in the 5th house, maybe things moving forward in terms of opportunities to express yourself, to get perhaps creative, maybe follow some of those interests or passions, basically anything that's close to the heart. All right, and this has been a developmental area over the past week with Jupiter going direct here. So it's seeing how you can integrate the light, playful, fun side of life or the interest, which is the 5th house, with the deeper stuff, right? And that's the integration point between the 5th and the 8th, is that life is about enjoyment, but at the same time, the best kind of enjoyment is the type that is true, that is real, that is raw. And that's not always easy with the square, but it's about integration. And with that combination, that's when the enjoyment really gets deep, really gets accentuated, right? And vice versa. That's when you're seeing perhaps the bit of the playful and lighthearted side to perhaps the deeper transformational stuff that you might be reflecting on. So that's the steady growth there for you, and how to see that you can continue to build these things that matter with patience, and how you can continue to cultivate your self-expression with patience as well. Jupiter's expansion, Saturn is limitation, but when you combine them, it's very constructive, especially in a square, or at least can be through that willingness to integrate the two. So that's going to be highlighted next week. Okay, that's going to be strongest next week on the 26th, which will be about a week from Thursday. And that's going to take us into June as well. All right, but I think it's a good week for putting energy into those two areas, your 5th and your 8th. Now here on Thursday, we do have Venus shifting into Taurus. And this is where the sun's already been. So the focus has been, I mean, recently since last weekend, this week, all week, the focus is on, I think, your values. I think on focusing on where you can have a bit of that more material type of enjoyment in life. All right, which is the second house, where you can cultivate your self-reliance, build your material security. Maybe it's financial for some of you. So that's a good area to focus. This is where your next new moon is going to be in a couple weeks. But Venus entering into here on the second half of this week is you could be attracting some of these values. You could be enjoying those simple pleasures, the good meal, the relaxation, the essential oils, right? And you're seeing the beauty there. So, of course, with balance, because this full moon is going to be opposing up to that Venus, so it's about balancing the material with the non-material values, the earthly with the deeper, and again, seeing them as really one and the same, because everything in life that we enjoy on a physical level has a deeper counterpart. In other words, what is it that we truly value in those things? All right, and that's part of this whole balance with the full moon and these two areas, 2nd and the 8th house. And vice versa, what's really matters and what's really meaningful does have a enjoyable counterpart, sensual counterpart, a material side to it that can be grounded, can be rooted. And this is where transformation really occurs, when we've rooted ourselves into earth, into our senses, into nature. All right, so I think it's an excellent week for nature, excellent week for connecting to our senses in that enjoyable way. I think that can help balance out a lot of this deeper stuff with the 8th. Now, at the same time, as actually just after that full moon, we are going to have Mercury going station direct over the weekend. All right, so a lot of things that I think you have been reflecting on some level, relating to where you're putting your energy, relating to who you are, and that kind of stuff is starting to slowly move forward as we go into next week. Okay, so there is this shift. Could be an insightful Sunday. Sometimes when Mercury goes direct, something shifts, some sort of understanding comes into the forefront. And this might be about you. It might be about goals. And if you've been reworking or redoing things relating to your aspirations or whatnot over the past few weeks, then that energy, I think, will start to shift. And it does, of course, take time for Mercury to get out of his shadow and all that good stuff. But going into next week, still great for implementing maybe some of these insights that might be shifting directions over the weekend. And that Mercury, by the way, is trining up to that Jupiter. Okay, so there could be, again, insight not only about self, but also about the enjoyments of life and your self-expression. All right, so Aries, have a fantastic week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.